thing that everyone in this room has in common. Every single one of us sleeps. However, the amount of sleep that each of us gets varies from person to person and lifestyle to lifestyle. For example, I slept around 7 hours last night, while Missy said she slept only 3.5 hours in preparation for an exam. This variation is common throughout TCU campus and other college campuses around the nation. Our research has led us to the conclusion that the sleeping patterns in college often become erratic due to academic and social pressures.
This is why we decided to create a survey that examined a spectrum of TCU students ranging from people involved in Greek life to freshman residents living in dorms. We began research in order to determine if there were any common patterns in students' sleeping schedules and to gauge students' emotions towards the sleep that they get. Overall, what we found was that roughly 51% of the 77 individuals that we surveyed found themselves only getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep each night, with 46% getting around 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Over half of those surveyed reported that they felt like they did not get enough sleep each night. 76% said that they felt like their lack of sleep affected their lives on the daily. Academic performance was significantly contingent upon the amount of sleep one had, as 79% reported that a lack of sleep affected their academic abilities. When asked about typical bedtimes, 68% of the sample reported bedtime between midnight and 2 a.m., with only 1.3% going to bed before 10 p.m. Caffeinated products such as coffee were used by over half of those surveyed, while melatonin registered as just below 50%.
Sleep, like eating and drinking, is an indispensable part of sustaining life. Besides the fact that it makes us feel better and more alert, the question of why exactly we need sleep remains difficult to answer. There are, however, a few credible theories found through research. This theory suggests that mankind, along with most other organisms, evolved to sleep at night as a way to stay out of danger. This theory suggests that mankind evolved to sleep as a way to conserve energy because of the scarcity of food. The next theory is the restorative theory. This theory suggests that humans evolved to sleep because the body needed time to restore and rejuvenate itself. Studies have found that major restorative functions such as muscle growth and tissue repair occur, for the most part, during sleep.
Physical signs of a lack of sleep include excessive sleepiness, yawning, irritability, and daytime fatigue. However, the effects of lack of sleep can harm multiple parts of the body. For example, during sleep, your brain makes connections that allow for better short and long-term memory. So without sufficient sleep, your memory may be negatively affected. A lack of sleep can cause mood swings, and chronic sleep deprivation could lead to depression or anxiety. According to sleepfoundation.org, the recommended amount of sleep a typical college student should get, ages 18 to 25, is 7 to 9 hours per night. The sleep duration recommendations change with age because during adolescence and teen years, the circadian cycles shift.
With all of the never-ending assignments and extracurricular activities in the college world, sleep can start to seem like more of a luxury than a necessity. But what impact can this really have on our social lives in the long run? Dr. David Luden discussed in an article published in Psychology Today that there is a vicious cycle between sleep deprivation and relationship conflict. Likewise, negative social experiences can also have a negative impact on the amount of sleep that we receive. Social issues due to lack of sleep can arise in the realms of close relationships, person perception, and social stress. It is found that in Western cultures, we typically display less empathy when we are in a sleep deficit. We are also less able to regulate our own emotions because more often than not, we don't have the energy to carry out the strenuous process of reevaluating feelings to put them in the proper perspective. What can us individual members of the TCU community do to combat sleep deprivation? It starts with the self and taking care of your own sleeping habits. We can't help others without understanding the fundamentals of helping ourselves. It starts with shifting the amount of sleep we receive ourselves to ensure that we're making TCU an inviting community.
Sleep can affect a student's success in the classroom. Without sufficient sleep, one can struggle with concentration, problem solving, and creativity. College students who pull all-nighters are more likely to have a lower GPA. Students with symptoms of sleep disorders are more likely to receive poor grades in classes such as math, reading, and writing than peers without symptoms of sleep disorders. Some tips include limiting naps and trying to maintain a normal sleep schedule on the weekends.
So often do we hear about the side effects of not getting enough sleep, but does the average person really understand the harm in getting too much sleep? As sleep becomes an increasingly important topic in the scientific world, research is beginning to show that too much sleep can be linked to multiple health hazards and diseases such as higher risk of diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and obesity. Get the sleep you need and get your day started. Our survey found that a lot of students lose sleep because they are staying up to finish assignments and then sleep in too much on the weekends, throwing their bodies into an unhealthy loop. Especially as active young college students, we should be actively working to take care of ourselves. That means getting between 7 to 9 hours of sleep consistently, regardless of what work we have done. We will have more energy if we wake up and finish the assignment rather than staying up and missing out on sleep.
As you can see, sleep is not only a necessity for our bodies to function on an everyday basis, but is also a large influencer in our social lives and our academic performances. Although sleep is personal to each of us, we believe that TCU can actually help students develop healthier sleeping patterns in multiple ways. Perhaps 9 a.m. can be the earliest time for a class, as an extra hour of sleep can make a significant difference. If possible, no more than 2 tests should be scheduled on a single school day, as this often leads to students pulling all-nighters and significantly decreasing their hours of sleep. At the end of the day, TCU can help not only the students, but the entire TCU community if they take steps in promoting healthier sleeping patterns amongst its students. However, it is up to each one of us to put our bodies and our minds first and go to bed.